We are live. All right, let me start. On behalf of San Antonio Tamil Sangam, good evening, everyone. அனைவருக்கும் வணக்கம். I request you all to go on mute, please, since. Welcome, Satish.
Hello, Kumar. Hello, sir.
So this is the agenda. I'm just going to give a quick intro about Dr. Venkat Srinivasan, and then he's going to talk about this lifestyle changes for the weight management, anger management, sleep, and things like that. And then we are going to open the floor for questions. All right. A quick introduction about Dr. Venkat Srinivasan. You know, he's a very prominent figure in San Antonio medical community. We usually tell like he's the official doctor of San Antonio Tamil Sangam. Whenever any medical emergencies or medical questions comes to San Antonio Tamil Sangam executive members, we usually ask him for an advice and then get his advice. And he has helped a lot of our parents who visit here. Many parents who visit here, they come on a very limited insurance. Is very kind enough to help them. அவருடைய ஸ்பெஷாலிட்டி என்னன்னா திஸ் லைஃப் ஸ்டைல் சேஞ்சஸ். நான் அவர்கிட்ட ஒரு 5 வருஷமா வந்து விசிட் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கேன். அவரு பாத்தீங்கன்னா ப்ரிஸ்கிரைப் பண்ணுங்கிறது வெரி வெரி லெஸ். ஒரு 2-3 வாட்டி தான் வந்து மருந்து ப்ரிஸ்கிரைப் பண்ணியிருப்பாரு. மற்ற டயத்துல எல்லாம் அவரு he will suggest me to make some slight changes in lifestyle. அங்கேயும் இங்கேயும் கொஞ்சம் அட்ஜஸ்ட் பண்ணி அந்த கண்டிஷன்ஸை வந்து சரி பண்ணிடுவாரு. he also suggest ஃபுட்லையும் கொஞ்சம் சேஞ்சஸ் எல்லாம் சஜஸ்ட் பண்ணுவார், விச் இஸ் ஒரு டிராஸ்டிக்கா இல்லாமல் இட் வில் கோ த்ரூ அவர் லைஃப், அப்படியே ஈஸியா இருக்கும். அது இதனால சைட் எஃபெக்ட்ஸ் எல்லாமும் ரொம்ப கம்மியா இருக்கும்னு நம்புறோம். ஸோ வித்தவுட் மச் டாக் I would like to request Dr. Venkat Srinivasan to give us a talk about this lifestyle changes.
One minute, Kumar. You don't need to share the screen, I believe. Just go live because there are cascading windows coming. Okay.
Thank you, Kapil.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thank you, Kumar. Thanks, Tamil Sangam members. And I want to find out as to how I can share my screen.
Kumar, you have to make him as a presenter.
Okay.
So while it is happening, first of all, I want to thank San Antonio Tamil Sangam for giving me this opportunity to present this very important topic. It's very odd nowadays that we sit in one corner, we are not able to see each other, and we still have to communicate. At the same time, it is also great that we are able to communicate in spite of the distance, and we don't have to leave the comfort of our family, our home, and still able to participate and learn with each other and develop a sort of a companionship while doing so. So either way, in a way, this coronavirus situation has created importance for us to emphasized the importance of family for all of us. And also we miss our friends. So it has also re-emphasized the importance of how important friends are in our lives. I still need the permission to share my screen so I can do the presentation.
Doctor, can you try now, please?
Okay, the Zoom screen there, I don't have anything showing up on my Zoom screen.
Just do a click on the Zoom screen.
Okay.
Menu would pop up.
Okay.
There is a share screen option should pop up.
Okay. Restart, sign in, new window, find in this page. Okay. Let me, do you mind if I log out and log in?
Sure, doctor.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, let me log out and log in, please. Bear with me. Okay. Now I got it.
Can you try all test button?
I got it. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll share. Okay. Okay. Now I'm in business. Okay. So okay. Now is the screen clear? Are you able to see me?
Yes, doctor. We are able to.
Yeah, we can see the slides.
Okay, excellent. Okay. So we're going to start with a patient that came to see me. Obviously, this is not the same gentleman. This is a stock picture of someone who represents my patient. I've changed the name also for privacy. See, this gentleman came to see me about 3 months ago. In his early 30s, IT person, slightly overweight. He came to see me because his blood pressure was high. Office வந்தப்போ pressure வந்து 150 by 90s 96 or something இருந்துச்சு. And பார்த்த உடனே my medical assistant was able to tell me that he was looking very stressed. So அவர் வந்த உடனே ஒரு then அவருடைய story we started listening. You know, a typical thing, IT worker. அவரும் அவங்க wife மட்டும் இங்க இருக்காங்க. And India's parents are there. And he is expecting a baby. And as usual, you know, there's a lot of nervousness that goes with that. Becoming a first-time dad, other work pressures with this visa situation, all kinds of pressures going on. So the first thing I did was I gave him a few breathing exercises to do. In a short while, his blood pressure started improving. And he was very happy with it and said, you know, hey, is there anything more that you can do, doctor? So we asked him to go through a stress management workshop, an 8-week stress management workshop, which we started. That's on lifestyle and stress management. And we will talk about what happened with him towards the end of the program. Because tomorrow is our day of graduation. And so he has completed it. And so I do have a feedback on how he did. So before we come to lifestyle, why are we even talking about it? To know that, we need to kind of understand where we are, where we were in the early 1900s. See, in the early 1900s, the cause of death were these three: TB, pneumonia, and diarrheal diseases like cholera, other gastroenteritis, pneumonia and flu, tuberculosis. If you see, the common aspect in all these three are they're all infections. The other thing that is very important is that suppose somebody gets TB They are not responsible for the disease. We don't consider them responsible. Then we admit them to the hospital and we give them medicines, and all the patient has to do is just take the medicine. They don't have to do anything else. Listen to the doctor, lie down in the bed, get better, and go home. Same thing if they have a pneumonia or flu or diarrhea. So this was the way medicine was developed. So the whole concept was doctors will tell patients what to do. And as far as the patients are concerned, open my mouth, take the medicine, forget everything else, and I'm fine. I'll get better. So life was very simple that way. But let us see what is happening in 2000. So the most important diseases are heart attacks, cancer, stroke. Now, when we go about it, suppose somebody gets a lung cancer. The first question that all of us will ask is, our cigarette pudichara? That's the first question we'll ask, right? Heart attack happens, and then what do we say? Our exercise panna maatar, kandada saaptittu irundaru. So this is kind of how we go. So remember, with tuberculosis and pneumonia, we never asked what was the patient's fault. Here, there was nothing about the patient's fault. Here, patient's behavior is extremely important. So now we need a new paradigm. Patients were not doing anything actively here, but patients have to participate in prevention and also treatment of these diseases. That is the first thing we have to understand. So when we go to the doctor and tell them, sir, enakku diabetes irukku, maatra kudunga, I'll take the medicine and then I'll get better. It will not work. I can guarantee you there is no medicine today that will cure diabetes. But there are things that we can cure. We can bring the blood sugar down, but that is not the same as curing diabetes. So what is happening in India? That was the international thing, what was happening in terms of death. You see here, heart attack, lung disease, stroke. Same thing are the top 3% of deaths. This is from Times of India. Change from 2005 to 2015, 17% this has gone up, 4%, 7% this has all gone up. See what is happening to diarrhea, TB and pneumonia. Gone down by 23, 32, 31%. Diabetes is increasing, 35% increase. Now the diabetes related deaths will start going up very, very soon. Kidney disease deaths gone up by 21%. It's going to go up. All the preterm births we have gotten under control. Road injuries, we are making some improvement. But the big ones, like the rest of the world, India has become a first world country. India is no more a third world country. India is now first world country. Indians living abroad, Indians living in India, we all have the same risk factors. Now I want you to do something, and I want all of you to pull out your calculator. I'm going to give you a couple of minutes or maybe 30 seconds to pull the calculator in your computer, watch, anywhere, cell phone. And once you have it ready, I'm going to use Kumar as a cue because I can see what Kumar is doing. So after that, write down your weight in kilogram. Your weight in kilogram is, if you know your weight in pounds, you have to divide it by 2.2. So write it down, and then write down your height in meters. If you know your length in inches, 5'5" will be 5 times 1260 plus 565 inches. Then divide that by 39.4, you'll get your height in meters. So do that and write that down. Okay, are we ready? Okay, next step. Square the height. So take the height and multiply it by itself. So once you do that, in the fourth step, divide the weight by this number. So you got this number. And this number is called your body mass index, which is one way to kind of get height taken into consideration while finding out if somebody is overweight or not. Okay, this is a very useful number to know. Okay, Kumar, you're able to finish? Okay, so he got it. Okay, all right.
One quick question. Okay?
Yeah.
So we have to, after squaring the height, we have to divide the weight by square, right?
Weight by the square. And your number should be somewhere in the 20s to 40s.
Okay, doctor, I got it.
Okay, all right. Now, you don't have to tell me the number, but just have it in mind. And we'll go to the next slide. So what is this thing called obesity? That's one of the most common diseases we are seeing. Overweight is BMI of 25 to 30. This is the US standard. Obesity is BMI is greater than 30. This is for the US. But then a lot of Indian scientists got together and found out, see, Indians don't have the huge muscle frame, the skeletal frame as Caucasians do. This was derived from Caucasians, whites. So for Indians, so this is the CDC's definition. Indians are different. For us, overweight is 23 and above. And obesity is greater than 25. This is what Journal of Association of Physicians of India, this is what they are telling us. If we look at it, almost every one of us is overweight or obese. In fact, I would say I have rarely seen any Indian below this number, below 23. So when I checked the statistics from India, I thought maybe I'm making a mistake. So when I checked the statistics, see, in the 20 to 30 age group, 65% are overweight or obese. Across all age groups, 80% are overweight or obese, and slightly more women than in men. Only 18.5% apparently in India said obesity could cause diabetes. And that's kind of unusual, isn't it? Most people don't even know how bad it is. So they surveyed about 660 women and 358 men. So it was not like a small survey, a fairly large amount, 1,000 people they checked. And this is the number we are getting. Why are we concerned about obesity? Because of this condition called diabetes, which all of us are familiar. Diabetes is if your glucose is more than 125, or your A1C, which is an indicator of 3 months average of blood glucose, is more than 6.5. But there is another condition which we talk about frequently. That's called pre-diabetes. It's fasting glucose 110 to 124. Some people even call it 110 to 100 to 124. And then A1C is 5.7 to 6.4. And 70% of these people will develop diabetes eventually. If you see here, 11.8% of Indians older than 50 are diabetic. And 14% of adults in India are pre-diabetic. So if you look at it, 25%, more than 25% of us are diabetic or pre-diabetic, and this number is increasing every day. One of the Indian doctors, Indian cardiologists in town used to tell me, Venkat, in any Indian patient comes to see you, don't ask the question if they are diabetic or not diabetic. Just consider that they have become diabetic or they are going to become diabetic. That's the way you want to approach it. Everybody is diabetic. That's how you approach the whole patient population. And that is a sad state of affairs, and this need not be this way. Let me explain where lifestyle comes and why are we worried about this pre-diabetes. Okay, this is the one slide I would really like you to pay some attention, because there is a little bit of science here that needs some understanding. It's not very complicated. We are talking mainly about type 2 diabetes. See, normally, this is, let's say, normal blood glucose. normal amount of insulin is produced because the insulin is working well. There is no resistance to insulin. Insulin is working well. In the pre-diabetic stage, what happens is the insulin doesn't work very well. So to maintain the glucose, the body makes more and more and more insulin. The glucose is still normal, but the body has to make more insulin because it's not working well. Because it's not working well, there is insulin resistance. There is more insulin being produced. So at this point, we have normal glucose, high insulin. So before they even, you can diagnose pre-diabetic. Here the patient's glucose is 90 or 95. But instead of insulin being this much, insulin has already gone up this much to maintain. So this is the first stage. This is before pre-diabetic. This is the pre-diabetic stage. That's where we are up to here. Then, in spite of the sugar being high, insulin being high, sugar starts going up and up and up because the insulin resistance is getting worse. Insulin is still not working. So this much of insulin is not enough. The body is making more and more and more insulin. In spite of it, the sugar is going up and up and up. And finally, here the body gives up. There's not so much insulin that is available. So the sugar now starts shooting up further. Insulin starts dropping, and you become full-blown diabetic. So now, here is when we start the medicines. The problem did not start here. The problem did not start here. The problem did not start here. The problem started here. So this is where the problem started. We need to work at this level. So யாராவது போய் டாக்டர்கிட்ட போயிட்டு ஓ மை டாக்டர் செட் சுகர்லாம் சூப்பரா இருக்கு அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டாருன்னா doesn't mean you're fine. Meaning the problem is brewing under the surface. There is a way to find out. We check what we call HOMA-IR, or homeostatic model of insulin resistance. We check the glucose and insulin and find out how much glucose and how much insulin there is in the body, and we can do a calculation. With that, we can find out at this stage. This is the stage in which we need treatment started. இளைதாக முள்மரம் கொள்க களையுனர் கை கொல்லும் காழ்த்த விடத்து. Right? Or நோய் நாடி நோய் முதல் நாடி அது தணிக்கும் வாய் நாடி வாய்ப்பச் செயல். Thiruvalluvar was the world's greatest Twitter innovator, right? He started Twitter before Twitter knew what it was. And he said these two things. If you consider this as a disease, kill it here. Don't wait here. Kalayumnar kai kollam kartha vidathu at this point. It's going to kill us here. So if you need to kill diabetes, we need to start here. And when we say noi mudal nadi, noi mudal is insulin resistance. Adu tanikkum vai nadi vaipachayal. So we need to work on insulin resistance. But what are we doing? We are treating the glucose. We are giving medicines to reduce glucose. But this is the disease. So noi nadi, noi mudal nadi, adu tanikkum vai nadi. Instead of that, noi mudal we don't see. We only see the manifestation of glucose's problem here. So we are giving medicines for that. If Thiruvalluvar were here alive today, he would tell us that giving medicines to reduce blood glucose, you are missing the point. We should be treating insulin resistance, not blood glucose. So based on Thiruvalluvar, we will go, because our symbol for San Antonio Tamil Sangam as Thiruvalluvar, right? We are proud descendants of this great saint. Okay. So what is lifestyle medicine? Lifestyle medicine is a very simple 6 things that we work on. One is nutrition, exercise, not drinking or smoking, stress management, sleep, and pro-social activity, being connected to others. So these are the 6 things that we do. So Harvard Medical School says healthy lifestyle can prevent diabetes and even reverse it. Reverse meaning not control the glucose, but control the whole disease process that caused the diabetes. Control, bring it up to here. Even if we are here, you can bring him all the way back here. So you can reverse the whole process. That's what Harvard Medical School is saying. And we need to work on this, not just take medicines here. So can it be prevented? So they wanted to find out. There was this world famous trial called diabetes prevention trial. I'm going to go back into this image again and again because this is where we'll be focusing on. So they took patients who were all here. They were not fully blown diabetic. Their sugar was abnormal but not diabetic level yet, between 100 to 124. So they took these patients and they wanted to see how can we prevent them from becoming diabetic? How can we prevent them from crossing this line? So that was the goal. What can we do? So they divided them into 3 groups. One group, they didn't give them anything. They just said, you have to be careful, you have to eat properly, you have to exercise properly, and then they left them alone. The second group was given a prescription for a tablet called metformin. They were given this tablet. Metformin, many of us are aware, it's a diabetic pill. So they wanted to see if the metformin can prevent this disease. The third group, they put them on a lifestyle program where they will be given classes on exercise, classes on diet, and they will be given a coach who will talk to them and tell them, hey, did you do this properly? Why did you not buy your vegetables? Why did you not eat today? Why did you not exercise? You should, and they'll keep coaching them. Okay, today this was a problem. Okay, tomorrow you do this. So the coach will be just like a coach for basketball or soccer or football or tennis. This coach will be talking to them. So they did this. And results started coming in, and they had to stop the study halfway through. Why? Because one group was doing so much better. It did so well, so ethically, it is not considered right to continue a study if we can already prove that one thing is working. Because if something is working, then we need to give it to everyone. We cannot just continue the study. So they stopped it. And this was what they found. The placebo, where they did nothing, 29% had developed diabetes. In patients who were taking metformin, 22% developed diabetic in 3 years, or there was a 31% relative risk reduction. But people who were given diet and exercise, there was a 58% risk reduction from here. There was only a 14% chance of developing diabetes in the 3 years of follow-up. And what did they do? All they did was reduce your body weight by 5 to 7%. And they exercised 30 minutes a day. When I say 30 minutes a day, it's not like they were running. They were only doing the equivalent of brisk walking, 30 minutes every day. That's all they did. Walked for 30 minutes at a fairly brisk pace. They were not running. 5 to 7%, let's assume, let's say your weight is 150 kilos, or let's say 100 kilos. Easy to know. So their weight came down to 95 kilos or 93 kilos, 5 to 7% reduction in body weight. That is all they lost, just 5% to 7%. And they had this tremendous benefit. And this group, this was a landmark study. If you see, this was published in the New England Journal of Medicine in 2002. So this is probably the world's most premier medical journal. And when it publishes the study, it means it was done perfectly. There is no question about how well the study was done. So much so, when they follow these patients after years, and they still find out that there is this benefit. How about cancer? We all think cancer is not preventable, but quite a bit of cancer is also preventable. It's not genetic. More than genetics, it is our lifestyle. It would be great if we can prevent 5% of cancer. It's a huge number. It'll be greater if we can prevent 10% of cancer. It'll be super if we can prevent 20% of cancer. It'll be amazing if we prevent 30% of cancer. How would it be if we can prevent 40% of cancers? 40% of cancers today are preventable. Cigarette smoking itself is 19% of cancer deaths. 19% of cancer and almost 30% of cancer deaths you can prevent just by this one thing, not smoking. Obesity, again, a large percent. Obesity, relation to colon cancer, prostate cancer, breast cancer, especially in women, very, very high correlations. Alcohol, again, a lot of association with cancer, especially of esophagus, stomach, liver, the big thing in liver cancer. Ultraviolet radiation, this is mainly skin cancer, not much of cancer deaths, mainly skin cancer, which fortunately doesn't kill people that much. And the last one, of course, is loss of exercise. And that causes 3% of cancer, almost 3% of cancer. So we can prevent cancer, we can prevent diabetes. So what do we do? So now we'll come to solutions. Now that we know lifestyle is important, I'm going to give you some very, very simple things to follow today. Diet, we have paleo diet, keto diet, very popular now among some Indians. Each one comes up with some diet, everybody comes up. But the simplest rule that I tell all my patients is this: keep it very simple. Mainly eat food. When I say eat food, it means eat food. Don't buy protein bar. Don't buy like a protein shake. That's not food. Just eat food. When it looks like food, eat food. And then the second thing, eat mostly plants. I'm not saying become vegetarian or become vegan. Meaning all those things are great. But the first thing is start by eating mostly plants, meaning mostly plant-based food. Almost all your meal, make them plant-based. If you really, really, really like to eat meat, maybe eat it once in a while as a small treat, but not as your main meal. My friends in India, who are all, in my physician friends in India, suddenly have developed this habit of posting pictures of what they eat every day on WhatsApp. And I have no clue why you would show people what you're eating every day. And this usually it'll be some, like a big spread, and that'll have, like every day high intake of meat, sweets, very, very fried food. And this is what doctors are doing, mind you. They think that they are not going to get sick. And the third thing I tell patients is to not eat too much. If you just follow these 3 simple rules, this life is much easy. Eat food, mostly plants, and not too much. I did not make up this rule. It's written by a person called Michael Pollan. It's a very famous book called Food Rules. He's not a doctor, but this book is very popular. And I find that, if you follow this guy's rules, you can generally have a good life. So what should be minimized? Obviously, sugary foods, and that includes sweetened drinks and juices. As much as possible, try to minimize it. Minimize your meat intake. And please, chicken is not a health food. There's a lot of myth saying, my own family members, they feel, if I need protein, you need to eat chicken. No, chicken is not a health food. Chicken is one of the worst kind of food there is. Dairy, as much as possible, minimize or avoid dairy. Milk, I think our milk consumption, especially our cheese consumption, is going up after having come here. Ghee consumption has really gone through the roof because ghee is cheaper now. Milk is not needed for bones. There was a famous study in New England Journal of Medicine that came this February that's definitively proved that milk is not needed to prevent osteoporosis. That is a myth. Cut down on cheese as much as possible and cut down on oil, and that includes even olive oil as much as possible. I want to know how much oil each one buys every day. If you're buying a big gallon of oil, cut it down by 50% and use only that 50% for your monthly oil budget. Cut down your oil. Talking about oil, I wanted to talk about someone. I don't know how many of you know this person. She's called Chitra. She was a movie actress, and she was famous for this Nalanai Chitra. That's how she used to be called. I don't know how many of you are familiar with this person. She was the first, one who came in the TV commercial for Idayam Nalanai. Chitra, I put her picture because Chitra is my neighbor, was my neighbor when we grew up. We all grew up together and then together. And she was about 2-3 years older than I am. Very, very nice girl. And the reason why I show Idayam Nalanai is the Idayam Nalanai's commercial goes Idayam Thangam, Idayam Venduma, Idayam Nalanai Vangangal or something like that. Now, where did Idayam Nalanai come for heart health? I have no clue. People, they would show someone like frying vade, they'll be frying vade and then add mulaga podi and add lots of oil on top. And that lady will come on commercial and say, I'm concerned about the health of my family, and that's why I'm using Idayam Nalanai. It's one of the most horrendous things to do. Oil is not health food. Minimize oil. If you want to eat oil, buy the oil seed and eat that, meaning eat peanuts, eat yellow, which is this, and then eat almonds, eat olives, but don't buy the oil as much. Minimize it. So what are the healthier choices? Eat grains, which we all do in India, but then we try to eat more white rice. So minimize it. Go to more brown rice. Go to more, instead of maida, use whole wheat. Instead of microwavable oats, buy steel cut oats. Use barley. A lot of South Indians, Tamil patients have started using millets. And millets is also very good. Eat a lot of parupu. Legumes are great. Legumes, some people cannot digest legumes. If you cannot digest, pressure cook it. Find the legumes that are most comfortable for you. And the easiest one is green dal, which is paitam parupu or pasi parupu, as we say. You can use that. That is more easier to digest. If kadala parupu is harder for you to digest. Vegetables. Eat as much vegetables as possible. When I go to a party, a South Indian or Tamil people party, I'll find idli will be there. Then there'll be some chapati. And there'll be some potato curry. Then there'll be some tengai sadam. Then there'll be some tair sadam. And there'll be some puliyam sadam. And in a tiny corner, one small bowl of green vegetables will be there. And this is our vegetarian meal. If we eat like this, we are sure are inviting diabetes into ourselves. The vegetable should be the major dish. In Tamil Nadu, we make something called kootu. I tell all our patients, may eat kootu every day for lunch. Along with that, maybe add a little bit of rice. Don't eat sambar sadam, rasam sadam, tair sadam. Drink the rasam. If you really like the flavor of rasam, drink the rasam. If you absolutely want your yogurt or your buttermilk, then drink it. But then just eat only small amount of rice. Eat lots of fruits. If somebody tells you, oh, if you eat fruit, you'll become diabetic, they are lying. You can eat as many fruits as you want. Comfortably eat bananas or pineapples or apples, whatever you want, you can eat. It's better than eating pizza and pasta. And then the most important thing, this is before we even get into diet, I should have emphasized this. There is no role for these two in our lives. Okay, this stuff needs to go. There is no, role for this cigarette smoking and alcohol. If you have any of these two, please stop this. The benefit that you will get out of diet, out of exercise, out of stress management, everything, or taking medicines, going to the doctor, everything pales. Everything is less compared to just this one thing, stopping smoking. So if you want to invest in something, invest in this first. Alcohol, don't let anyone tell you that drinking 2 glasses is healthy or 3 glasses is healthy. No glass is still healthy. If you really enjoy drinking and it's a form of companionship, don't try to go more than 2 if you are a male, and don't try to go more than 1 if you're a female. But don't make it into a daily habit. So you create a substitute habit, which means if you're smoking, at the time of smoking, at the time you usually smoke, let's say after food, that's not the time to think, what should I do now? See, what is a habit? A habit is formed to create efficiency by shrinking the range of responses, which means I'm stressed, I'm this, I'm worried. For all of that, the brain brings one response, which is cigarette smoking, and says, okay, that is the response for all the stimuli. So it shrinks all the range of responses to just one behavior. That way the brain doesn't have to think. So it just creates efficiency. Now what we need to now do is create another circuit. So what has happened is this. Neurons that fire together, wire together, which means stress, cigarette smoking, stress, cigarette smoking, stress, cigarette smoking. They start firing together. They become a hard circuit is formed here. So this circuit is so strong that it's hard to break that circuit. So we need to create an alternate circuit. Stress, walking, stress, walking, stress, walking. If you keep doing that circuit, then every time you get stressed, you start walking. Now you've created an alternative circuit. So that those 2 neurons, if you fire them together all the time, they will start wiring together. So that's why we need to create a substitute habit. We cannot just say don't smoke. You have to create an alternative habit. So plan ahead and create a new response. Health benefits of exercise, all of us know. I'll just kind of enumerate again. You can live longer. You will have a heart health. Your heart is healthier. You have lower risk for diabetes, lower risk for depression, increased cognition, meaning your thinking improves, your healthier aging, your memory gets better. You just are healthier for a longer duration. So what do you have to do? Do you have to run or do you have to walk? You don't have to run. If you're running, that's great, but you don't have to run. You can walk and get the same benefit. How do I say that? There is a big study that has happened. It's called the runners versus walkers cohort. This runners versus walkers cohort, they followed tens of thousands of runners and walkers over the past several years, and they found out the health benefits of who is getting more health benefit. Initially, if you say 1 hour of running versus 1 hour of running versus 1 hour of walking, the runners will have more benefit. But then you have to remember, if you run for 1 hour, maybe you run 6 miles or almost 10 kilometers. And if you walk for 1 hour, you may walk about 3 kilometers. So about 3 miles, about 5 kilometers. So that benefit will be obviously higher. But if you equate 5 kilometers of walking with 5 kilometers of running, or about 3 miles of each, the benefit is the same. You have the same amount of benefit with low blood pressure, same benefit with blood glucose, same benefit with protection against heart disease. Everything is almost the same. The additional advantage, runners tend to get more injuries. Walkers don't get as much injuries. There is a third benefit. Running, you have to change your clothes, you have to find the right shoe, you have to warm up, you have to cool down, all those things. Walking, you can just, if you decide you want to walk, you can finish this talk and then just go and start walking. You don't even have to change clothes. The other big thing with walking, You can walk with your spouse. You cannot run with your spouse. That's harder. You can walk with your children. If you have a baby, you can walk with the stroller. Then there is another concept I want to emphasize, and this is not given that much importance by many people. This is called non-exercise activity thermogenesis, which means, see, we think about exercise as something I have to go to the gym. Sir, gym alla mootanga sir, adnala exercise pannala. I mean, a lot of my patients come and tell me that. See, it's not the gym alone that you need. See, 70% of our energy expenditure is called basal metabolic rate. Another 10% goes to digest the food, thermic effect of food. This is all what we call to keep the lights open in the house, basal metabolic rate and this thing. Exercise on an average contributes only to 5% of our daily amount of calories that we spend. Non-exercise activity like, cleaning the house, washing dishes, gardening, vacuuming, putting up a fence, painting the house, all of this adds up. Climbing stairs while going to work, walking at work during work, all of this adds to about 15% of calories. So we need to do less of this and more of this. So this is called non-exercise activity thermogenesis. The other word we use is called NEPA, or non-exercise physical activity. So always take the steps. If you live in an apartment, of course, you have steps. Don't, even if you work in an office, never take these steps to go up at least until the 4th floor. After the 4th floor, if you get tired, maybe you can take the elevator. But on the ground floor, make it a rule. You will never take an elevator on the ground floor. The elevators should always be taken on the 4th floor or higher. So the first floor, 4th floor should be walking. Now, the first thing is, before you start any of these things, please check with your doctor if you're capable of doing this, because some people cannot even climb 2 flights of stairs and they have heart disease or something. You need to talk to your doctor about this. And as a disclaimer, I did not say this before. This activity is not meant to be for treatment of any disease. What I'm telling you is just general health principles. It's more an educational activity. So if you need any specific health information pertaining to your health, you still have to go talk to your doctor. So this is not a substitute for that. Then this thing that we don't really talk about much, this also is important, staying socially connected. People who are socially connected have a 50% chance of living longer. This is a big number. They have better gene expression for immunity. Their genes are working better. Lower anxiety and depression. They feel better. Their emotion is better. They can control their anger better. They feel higher self-esteem and empathy. Hardly anybody talks about this, but this is a very important factor which we don't talk about. So social connection does not just mean wife, children, father, mother, brother, sister. It includes friends. It includes volunteering in Tamasangam, contribute and participate. It could be your church. It could be your temple or your mosque. It could be any place. Volunteer there. Be part of a community. Low social connection or isolation is worse for health than even smoking, high blood pressure or obesity. It's slower recovery from disease, higher inflammation at cellular level, increased antisocial activity, suicide tendencies, anxiety and depression. So all these problems can come from social isolation. So we talked about food, we talked about exercise, then we talked about social connections. Then we talked about non-exercise physical activity. The one thing we didn't talk about is sleep. Sleep is very important. Sleep is a very complex subject. I cannot really explain the whole sleep concept in this talk, but what I will just tell you is this. please give as much importance to your sleep as much as you give to your daytime, which means if your sleep is not good, please go see the doctor. If you are busy, you have an exam tomorrow, if you have work tomorrow, don't compromise on your sleep. Sleep a little bit early so you get your adequate amount of sleep. If you cannot sleep or if you feel sleepy in the daytime, please see your doctor. You may have a sleep related problem. And the last one is stress management. So this stress management, Benson Henry Institute for Mind Body Medicine at Mass General Hospital is where I got trained in stress management. So I wrote a textbook on mind body medicine, which is based on stress management principles I learned here. We run a mind body medicine workshop, and this is based on these principles. And when we did this workshop, Mahesh, our character from the first story, he attended this workshop. And then I had a chance to see Mahesh again in the office last week. And his blood pressure is completely back to normal. No medicines, nothing, fine. He is happy, much more calmer. And, without medicines, we were able to reverse his hypertension. So it's definitely possible. Thank you very much. And if you have any questions, I will take those questions. I'll wait for questions now.
Yep. If anyone has questions, they can unmute themselves and start asking the questions. Doctor,
I just want to say thank you. This was a great presentation by Dr. Srinivasan, and I feel very privileged to have been able to attend this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. It's a privilege to be part of this. Yes.
Kumar, Selva here. I have a question.
Sure, go ahead, Selva.
Okay. Doctor, நீங்க வந்து இந்த sugar levels பத்தி பேசுறீங்க இல்லைங்களா, diabetics, type 2 diabetics. So if I do go for an annual checkup, right, like yearly, we usually have this practice of going to your primary care physician and take all the sort of tests. So whenever they say like less than 100, okay, you are close to the pre-diabetic stage, probably you have to be careful. This is what I hear from my primary care physician. So what really what is the level I should determine myself I'm safe or not safe? Because you said something might be brewing behind the scenes.
Absolutely. Let me do one thing. Can I share screen again?
Sure, doctor.
Okay, let me, because that slide is very important. So I'll go back to that slide, okay? Okay, so this is what your doctor is saying. You're not at 125, your glucose is like 110, right? So you're pre-diabetic, you have to be careful. Right, Selvagiri?
Yes, doctor.
Okay, that's what they're saying, right?
Yes.
And they are leaving it saying, no, diabetic, careful. There's nothing wrong with it. That's what they have to tell you. But then let's look at this. Let's look at the picture here. If your sugar is 110, you're already at this point. You're not here. You've already gone all this way here. You've not come here to be called diabetic. So what we need to do, this is health. This is not health. Here the glucose is still 90, normal, perfectly normal. What we are saying is this is not health yet, because here insulin levels have started going up. Why we keep saying repeatedly insulin is going up, insulin is going up? Because remember, insulin is a growth hormone. So that is the one that is making us gain weight. That is the one, insulin will increase our cancers, make them grow faster. Insulin resistance is going to make our blood vessels become harder and get heart disease. So we need to push this insulin levels low. We cannot allow insulin levels to stay high. So that is why we need to work at this. If they say you're already here, it's way too late. We need to be here. So we need to aggressively treat as though you're diabetic here. There is no, we cannot say be careful. You have to be, you have a problem. Instead of saying you உங்களுக்கு ப்ராப்ளம் வந்துரும்னு கிடையாது, உங்களுக்கு ப்ராப்ளம் இருக்கு. இந்த இருக்கு ப்ராப்ளம்ல இருந்து we have to come to this point. So அப்படிதான் we have to approach this.
Sorry doctor, what is the normal function க்கு வந்து maximum threshold என்னங்க sugar level?
Sugar level, see as I said, sugar level, Selva's sugar level இங்க கூட நார்மலா தான் இருக்கும் 90ல. புரியுதா? இதுவே நான் நார்மல்னு சொல்லல. சுகர் வெச்சு டயபிட்டிஸ்னு பார்க்காதீங்க.
ஓகே.
இன்சுலின் லெவல் தான் மெயின்.
ஓகே.
சோ அதுல தான் நம்ம கான்சென்ட்ரேட் பண்ணணும். இது ஒரு சுகர் வந்துச்சுன்னு வெச்சுக்கோங்க, ரொம்ப லேட்.
ஓகே, கரெக்ட்.
இதுவே லேட். இங்க 90ல இருந்து 100ல இருந்து 101 போச்சுன்னு வெச்சுக்கோங்க, ப்ரீ டயபெட்டிக் சொல்லுவாங்க. பட் இதுவே லேட். நான் என்ன சொல்றேன்னா இங்க வரணும். சுகரும் நார்மலா இருக்கணும், இன்சுலினும் நார்மலா இருக்கணும். இந்த லெவலுக்கு கொண்டு போகணும்.
So they say it's hereditary, so it's for sure like if a dad has, like definitely you will get it at some point of time in your life.
No. அதாவதுங்க தெய்வத்தான் ஆகாதெனினும் முயற்சிதன் மெய்வரத்த கூலி தரும் சொல்லியிருக்காங்க இல்லையா? எல்லாமே திருவள்ளுவர் சொல்லிட்டாருங்க, அவர் சொல்லாததே இல்லைங்க. அதாவது நம்ம ஜீன் படி எது இருந்தாலும் நம்மளுடைய எஃபர்ட்டுக்கு there is always going to be effect. Okay, this is what we call, in the modern science we call it the nature versus nurture theory. Nature la irukudha, nurture la irukudha அப்படினா. Okay, in Indian philosophy we call prarabdha and purushartha. So நீங்க எல்லா உலகத்துல everybody has this concept. Is it destiny or is it free will? Free will can definitely make an impact. Let's say you are destined to become diabetic at 50. How by diet and exercise you can move it to 70.
Okay, got it.
Right. So we can always move things better. Maybe they will still have some tendency, but we can really make it less effective. The concept of epigenetics, that's kind of how it comes. Genes, our genes are only as complicated as a rice. அரிசி இருக்குது இல்லையா, அரிசியில இருக்கிற ஜீன்ஸ் அளவுதான் மனுஷனுக்கும் ஜீன்ஸ் இருக்குது. பட் மனுஷன்ல எவ்வளவு வேரியேஷன் இருக்குது, that's not because of genetic variations as much as what genes come into play. அதுக்கு தான் the theory is called epigenetics, and the whole field is called epigenetics. What genes are turned on and what genes are turned off. And believe it or not, stress management can change which genes work and which genes don't work. Exercise changes it, diet changes it, sleep changes it. So all these things can change which genes are turned on or off. So உங்களுக்கு ஒரு பியானோ இருக்குது வெச்சுக்கோங்க, அதுல சி கீ or டி கீ வந்து உடைஞ்சு போயிருக்குதுன்னு வெச்சுக்கோங்க. பட் நம்ம எந்த கீல வாசிக்கிறோங்கிறத நம்ம டிசைட் பண்ணிக்கலாம். அந்த டி கீ இல்லாமயே we can play. தப்பா அந்த டி கீயை அழுத்திட்டே இருந்தோம்னா பாட்டு தப்பா வரும். பட் டி இல்லாமயே we can play.
Sure. Thank you doctor, thanks for the explanation. ரொம்ப நன்றி. இந்த ஒரு செஷன் வந்து எங்களுக்கு எடுத்தது. It is like kind of good to know kind of lot of activities. Definitely like we'll connect with you and then என் சைடுல இருந்து நான் will connect with you on that.
Certainly. Thank you, my pleasure.
Doctor, my question is on the mind body workshop சொன்னீங்க இல்லைங்களா?
ஆமா.
I know the மகேஷ் பேர் சொன்னீங்க. அவர் blood pressure
மகேஷ் கிடையாது, ஒரு பேர் சும்மா மகேஷ்னு ஒரு பேர் போட்டு.
ஓகே, சரிங்க. சோ அது கொஞ்சம் அதை எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ணுவீங்களா? என்ன ஃபார்மேட், அதுல வந்து என்ன மாதிரி இதெல்லாம் ஆக்டிவிட்டீஸ் எல்லாம் கொடுத்தீங்க?
இது வந்து இந்த ஒர்க் ஷாப் வந்து we run it every weekend.
Okay.
Over a period of time, 6 to 8 weeks. Last time we did it for 8 weeks, but we think we can do it in 6 weeks lem பண்ணலாம்னு தோணுது. நானும் I have a health coach and அவங்க வந்து தமிழ்நாட்டுல இருக்காங்க, சென்னையில இருக்காங்க. So நாங்க ரெண்டு பேருமா we conducted on Zoom. In the participants this time were in 3 continents, இங்க யூரோப்ல, இந்தியால, about 5 countries, Canada, America, England, Dubai, United Arab Emirates and India. இந்த 5 கண்ட்ரிலயும் இருந்தாங்க. and we ran this program. And they were all, we teach them, first thing is we teach them goal setting, how to set a goal. Secondly, we teach them diet. It's a 2-hour program. We talk about diet. And then third day, we talk about exercise. And then the fourth day, we talk about stress. Stress management goes every day. We teach them attitude adjustment. Idu thavura, we also give them meditation exercises every day. We talk about attitude adjustment, and we teach them how the power of things like forgiveness. How does acceptance affect your life? So stress perception ne eppadi maatha mudiyum. ஒரு விஷயத்தை பார்த்தா நம்ம ஸ்ட்ரெஸ் ஆகிறோம், அதை ஸ்ட்ரெஸ் ஆகாம பார்க்கறதுக்கு நம்ம எப்படி ட்ரெயின் ஆகணும், இது எல்லா விஷயமுமே we teach them. So இது வந்து ஒரு 6 to 8 weeks. I had a beautiful video that somebody had said, unfortunately I couldn't play it. I wanted to show their feedback today. அவங்க இன்னைக்கு நாளைக்கு we are graduating all of them. So we had a tremendous success. We are planning to start the next batch in January. So we can do one exclusively for Tamil speaking now. We can do that, and but we need about 20 people to run it.
Okay, doctor. நாங்க ஹில் கண்ட்ரி லைஃப்ஸ்டைல் மெடிசன் அந்த வெப்சைட்ல போனேன். அது அங்கதான் ரெஜிஸ்ட்ரேஷன்லாம் அங்கதான் இருக்குங்களா?
அதுல வந்து நீங்க எங்களுக்கு இமெயில் மெசேஜ் அனுப்பிச்சிட்டீங்கன்னா then we will tell you. நாங்க அடுத்த பேட்ச் பத்தி அனௌன்ஸ் பண்ணல, ஏன்னா இப்போதான் 2 பேட்ச் we finished. சாட்டர்டே ஒரு பேட்ச், சண்டே ஒரு பேட்ச்னு we are finishing. நாளைக்கு கிராஜுவேஷன். கொஞ்சம் we wanted to take a break and we wanted to add some other components. We wanted to add components of pre-education. So வரதுக்கு முன்னாடியே கோர்ஸ் மாதிரி அட்டெண்ட் பண்ணி தியரி எல்லாம் படிச்சுட்டு then they can learn practice. So on the Madri, we want to give more value. We want to create a book that they can take home. So for the money that they spend, we want to give a lot more to them. Yeah.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you so much.
Yes. But most importantly, this is our stress management workshop. That is very important. But also, avanga ellarume avங்களுடைய ஹெல்த்துக்கு ஒரு பிரைமரி டாக்டர்கிட்ட போயிட்டு யாரா இருந்தாலும் சரி, they need not be somebody that is next to you or anything. யாராவது ஒரு பிரைமரி டாக்டர் that you trust, நீங்க ட்ரஸ்ட் பண்ணக்கூடிய ஒரு பிரைமரி டாக்டரை போய் பார்த்து ஆனுவல் வெல்னஸ் முக்காவாசி ஜாப்ஸ்ல they give it to you free. அது யூஸ் பண்ணுங்க. நான் இதுல டிசிஎஸ் ஓட ஹெட் இருக்காரு இல்லையா, பிரசாத் துர்லபாத்தி, அவர்கிட்ட பேசிட்டப்போ அவர்கிட்ட கேட்டப்போ அவர் அதான் சொன்னாரு, சார் we give insurance to people but nobody is using their annual wellness. If we can even get them to use it. So டாக்டரை பார்த்து பண்ணும்பொழுது all the labs are checked பண்ணி and then go back and discuss those results. The reason why I say go back and discuss is நம்ம ஆஃபீஸ் போகும்பொழுதோ இல்லைன்னா அதுக்குன்னு ஒரு half an hour even televisit பண்ணும்பொழுதோ what happens is we are dedicating that time. I need to get better. இல்லைன்னா ஃபோன்ல ஒரு வாட்ஸ்அப்ல வந்து கேன் யூ ப்ளீஸ் சென்ட் மீ த ரிசல்ட், அவர் வந்து நம்பர் ஓகே, இதெல்லாம் நம்பர் ஓகே, யூ டூ திஸ் அப்படின்னாருன்னா நம்ம we are not committing to it. நம்ம கமிட்மெண்ட்ல தான் இது பெட்டர் ஆக முடியும். டாக்டருடைய அட்வைஸுக்கு மேல நம்ம கமிட்மெண்ட் இஸ் மோர் இம்பார்ட்டன்ட். அதனால தயவு செஞ்சு உங்க பிரைமரி கேர் டாக்டர் யாரா இருந்தாலும் சரி நீங்க பார்த்து அவங்க கிட்ட ஆனுவல் வெல்னஸ் பண்ணிடுங்க ஃபர்ஸ்ட்.
டாக்டர், the next question is, இப்ப டைப் 2 டயபெட்டிஸ் இருந்தது இல்லைங்களா?
ஆமா.
அது பார்க்காம விட்டா என்ன கான்சிக்வன்சஸ் வரும்?
கான்சிக்வன்சஸ் வந்து it's a number one cause of preventable or number one cause of blindness. Okay. அதுக்கப்புறம் kidney disease and kidney failure. Diabetics tend to have a much higher chance for heart attacks, heart failure, amputations. So severe problems.
Thank you, doctor. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, and India is becoming diabetic capital of the world.
We are already crossed the time. So just a time check.
Thank you, Selva, for reminding. Doctor, one more last question. I mean, I was not in the question on the young kids saying the is there one food in the world which we could eat and நிறைய சாப்பிட்டு எந்த எஃபெக்டே இல்லாம ஐ மீன் அது ஒரு நெகட்டிவ் எஃபெக்ட் இல்லாம ஏதாவது ஒரு ஃபுட் இருக்குங்களா? அவனுங்க சாப்பிட்டுக்கிட்டே இருக்கலாம், அது வந்து உங்களுக்கு ஒண்ணுமே ஆகாது அப்படின்னு அந்த மாதிரி ஏதாவது ஃபுட் இருக்குங்களா?
அதாவதுங்க ஒரு ஃபுட்டுன்னு சொல்ல மாட்டேன்.
ஓகே.
நம்ம தமிழ்நாட்டுல வந்து ஒரு கடை இப்போ வந்திருக்குது, பழமுதிர் சோலை அப்படின்னு ஒரு கடை, பார்த்திருக்கீங்களா?
ஆமாங்க.
காய்கறி கடை.
காய்கறி கடை.
அங்கிருந்து எது வேணா வாங்கி சாப்பிடுங்க.
ஓகே ஓகே ஓகே.
மீனிங் ஃப்ரூட்ஸ் அண்ட் வெஜிடபிள்ஸ் எவ்வளவு சாப்பிட்டீங்கன்னாலும் ஒன்றும் ப்ராப்ளம் வராது. அதனால eat more and more fruits and vegetables.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, doctor. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You're welcome. And first of all, I want to congratulate you for taking the lead. And இது தமிழ் சங்கம்ல நம்ம தமிழ் மக்கள் ரொம்ப ரொம்ப அவசியமான விஷயங்க. உடல்நிலை, அதை வந்து நம்மளுடைய உடல் நம்ம கவனிச்சுக்கலன்னா நமக்கு டிபெண்டா இருக்காங்க இல்லையா? வைஃப், சில்ட்ரன், ஆர் இஃப் யூ ஆர் அ வைஃப், ஹஸ்பண்ட் அண்ட் சில்ட்ரன், இவங்க எல்லாரையும் பார்த்துக்க முடியாது. இல்லை வயசான அப்பா அம்மா, இவங்க எல்லாரையும் நம்மளால பார்த்துக்க முடியாது. ஸோ அதனால இப்போ ஏஜ்ல ஐ சி many of the Indians, what I see, my heart goes out because these are very, very honest, hardworking people. They don't waste their time. எவ்வளவோ கஷ்டப்பட்டு உழைக்கிறாங்க, குழந்தைங்க நல்லா இருக்கணும்னு பாக்குறாங்க, ஃபேமிலி நல்லா இருக்கணும்னு ட்ரை பண்றாங்க, டைம் வேஸ்ட் பண்றது இல்லை. ஆனா என்ன பண்ணிடுறாங்க, தங்களுடைய ஹெல்த்தை வந்து சாக்ரிஃபைஸ் பண்ணி தான் பண்ண முடியும்னு நினைச்சிட்டு இருக்காங்க. அதனால கொஞ்சம் டைம் வந்து அவங்க ஹெல்த்துக்கு கவனிச்சாங்கன்னா they will figure out something good to do. So அதனால I'm proud of our community. I'm proud of the way we are, எந்த ஒரு குழந்தையும் நம்ம கம்யூனிட்டியில இருந்து தெருவுக்கு வந்தது இல்லைங்க. ஓகே, அதுனா என்னன்னா அப்பா அம்மா வந்து அப்படி பாத்துக்கிறாங்க குழந்தைங்க இல்லையா? அவ்வளோ கஷ்டப்பட்டு வளர்க்குறோம். அதனால ஐம் ப்ரௌட் ஆஃப் வாட் வி ஆர் டூயிங். பட் நம்மளை கொஞ்சம் நமக்கே கொஞ்சம் கவனிச்சுக்கணும்.
கண்டிப்பா டாக்டர். ரொம்ப ரொம்ப தேங்க்ஸ் டாக்டர். வேற யாருக்காவது क्वेश्चंस இருக்குங்களா? கார்த்திக்,
क्वेश्चन இல்லைனா ஜஸ்ட் தேங்க் யூ நோட் தான் சார் குமார். சோ எல்லா क्वेश्चन கவர் பண்ணியாச்சா?
எல்லாமே கவர் பண்ணியாச்சுங்க கார்த்திக்.
ஓகே, தேங்க்ஸ் குமார். தேங்க் யூ ஸோ மச் டாக்டர். ஹெல்த் இஸ் வெல்த், அதை எம்பசைஸ் பண்ணதுக்கு ரொம்ப நன்றி. அண்ட் தமிழ்ல நிறைய திருக்குறள் சொல்லி எல்லா மக்களுக்கும் புரியுற மாதிரி சொன்னீங்க. சுவர் இருந்தால்தான் சித்திரம் வரைய முடியும். ஸோ நம்ம உடம்பு நல்லா இருந்தால் தான் நம்ம பசங்களையும் பார்த்துக்க முடியும், நம்ம கம்யூனிட்டியும் பார்த்துக்க முடியும். ஸோ அதை வலியுறுத்தி இந்த கோர்ஸை எங்களுக்காக ஷார்டன் பண்ணி இவ்வளவு அழகாக எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ணதுக்கு இன்ஃபர்மேட்டிவாக இருந்துச்சு. டெஃபினெட்லி இட் இஸ் கோயிங் டு ஹெல்ப்ஃபுல் ஃபார் ஆர் கம்யூனிட்டி. தேங்க்யூ ஸோ மச் டாக்டர் on behalf of STATS and San Antonio Tamil Sangam. Nandri doctor.
Thank you so much. And ellarum, thanks again. Yeah.
Thank you so much doctor. Thank you everyone.
Thank you doctor. Have a good one.
Thank you doctor.
Thank you.